Welcome back, folks. From me, Phil Terrell. You're watching the final part of our Sonic the Hedgehog Let's Play. So we're going to finish it off with Starlight Zone. One of my actually least favorite levels. I don't really hate it, but there's nothing about it I really do like other than the speed aspect. I guess the Starlight City under construction motif is kind of cool, or a theme they have going on, but it doesn't really do it for me in a Sonic game, honestly. At least in Sonic 1. Let me say that, in Sonic 1, because future city levels I do like. But you'll have orb knots that you'll have to get through, these bombs that will also be in the next zone. But trying to think of other enemies that we fight here. And then you have the fireball walls that shoot out fireballs, and then you have these ladders that will these step ladders that will change into step ladders once you get on them. But one thing about Starlight Zone is there are multi-tier pathways to go. If you go towards the lower levels, you get to where you'll be in the city that's being constructed. Got a little tongue tie there. And then if you stay towards the top, you'll see more of the city skyline and then the starry sky. I tend to stay towards the upper path. I feel like the levels end up a little bit faster. That might just be me. You also tend to get a little bit more goodies being on the top pathway. Middle and lower pathways I find have the more speedier sections, but the top paths will generally lead to the quicker way out of the acts, I find. But as you see there, we finished Starlight Zone with 1 minute and 28 seconds left, or into the level. And then Starlight Zone Act 2, I believe this one we're actually going to finish in less than a minute. That's just for me sticking to the upper pathways. But anytime you go through any of these loop-de-loops, just hold down, build up some speed, and then, try not to land on a bomb like I did. And then one good thing about playing it on the Anniversary Collection, or Anniversary Mode, we do get the spin dash. So that's very, very awesome. So we can actually speed through this a little bit faster. And like I said, if you stick towards the upper pathways, you'll go through the level a little bit faster. You have these little seesaw contraptions that will shoot a spiked ball up once you land on the opposite side, and once it lands on the other side of the seesaw that you need to get out of the way, of course, you'll gut launch up, and then you can continue this motion of alternating back and forth to go higher. And it's kind of recommended that you do get used to the seesaw mechanic on that, because the boss in this zone will have to be defeated with it. So you might want to get used to that. But Starlight Zone Act 3, this is where I find that, and I had a jump cut right there because I had a very long pause break right there that I left in the session. I'm ashamed to admit that. But Starlight Zone Act 3, there's some multi-tier pathways here. There's an upper and middle and low path. And I'm going to tend to... Actually, I don't remember what path I tend to stay on, but as you see here, just stay on the seesaw and alternate. That way you can go up even higher. But as you go to this path, try to stay towards the upper path, and you'll get through the zone a little bit faster, I feel. If you stay towards the low path, like where the city that's right under construction is there, then there's wrecking balls, half wrecking balls with spikes. And I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Oh, I was trying to jump on top. But if you stay towards the lower path where the city's under construction, there's going to be bottomless pits there. And generally, I don't like that path. So I'll stay towards the top. Again, that's my preference. If you like the platformer aspect below, by all means, do that. Up here, we just got wrecking balls and bombs that we have to worry about. All the bombs. Like, what? That's so unnecessary for those bombs. And we get to the boss in less than a minute and 15 seconds. So... the seesaw mechanic here, again, you can use them to try a springboard to go up, or you can launch the bombs at Robonik, and you can also hit him with that. But as you can see there, I'm going to use a combination of both. Hit him with the spike balls, and I'm also going to use the spike balls as an extra height jump sort of thing. So you can do that, or you can hit him with the spike balls. It's completely up to you. But this is what I mean by you want to kind of get used to it. And once you get like a little flow going, it's going to be a very easy boss fight. This is not a very hard boss fight, because you're only going to get hurt if the spike balls explode and shoot the shrapnel at you, or you just do not watch where you are when that spike ball lands. Otherwise, pretty easy boss fight. One of the easier boss fights in my opinion. And with that, we finished Starlight Zone. We will move into the final, I guess technically the second to last zone in the game, Scrap Brain Zone. And I say technically because the last zone is literally called the final zone. The Scrap Brain Zone is one of those levels like Metropolis Zone in Sonic 2 where you're gonna be hard pressed to not take a hit from enemies, to environmental hazards and all that stuff, because Scrap Brain Zone is a zone where it's very obstacle course like. You need to practice good platforming skills, good timing. It's going to test all your skills that you've kind of developed in the other, what was that, 5 zones in the game. And I personally like to stay towards the top path if at all possible. As long as I stay on the top path, I feel kind of secure in Zone 1, Act 1 anyways, because there is a bombless pit on the bottom that you could die to if you go too far down. So that's why I like to stay towards the top. It's completely up to you, but I like to stay up to the top path because you'll get goodies like the rings and the shield, and that right there could have ended very badly for me. So I'm kind of glad I did not fall through. But these platforms will stay flat up top and when they come up, but when they start to go down, they will start to flip. And what you want to do is you want to memorize the pattern and how long these platforms spin when they're not on a chain. And right here I'm being a little bit nervous. I know you can't see me being nervous because this is pass fill playing, but when I get to the lower paths I tend to get a little bit anxious because I know below me is a bottomless pit. But make sure you run if you get on that little platform because it will collapse, as you saw. There'll be piggy bots here. It will drop bombs that will flicker, so you can jump over the bombs and then you can jump on the piggy bots. But otherwise, super easy enemies. The caterpillars are probably, in my opinion, the more dangerous things because they're very small hitboxes. But otherwise, we're done with Act 1 of Scrap Brain Zone, which is aka proto-chemical plant zone in my opinion, the way it looks anyways. And unlike the other zones, Scrap Brain Zone actually changes in design between acts, which I thought was really neat. And I'm glad they decided to expand on that concept in Sonic 3. But Scrap Brain Zone Act 2, we're inside the plant, and then we need to navigate a lot of these spinning gear things. And then there'll be switches to press, there'll be electric traps, there'll be flamethrowers up top, there'll be flamethrowers on bottom, and it's very hard to get through this, and there'll be bombs and spike ball chains and buzzsaws and all that stuff. But it's going to be very hard to go through this level without getting hit or getting too greedy like I did right there. I lost all my rings just to get a shield that, honestly, the rings do a good enough job doing the protection for me. But be very careful on the conveyor belt. So there'll normally be a trap on the top that will make you take damage, like the spike ball chains right there, or buzzsaws or pistons. If you get smashed by the pistons, you will die. Luckily, we're on the anniversary version, so I could spin dash if I really wanted to. But I'm doing my best not to use the spin dash. I know I use it on occasion, but I try to stay as close to the original as possible where we didn't have the spin dash. But just jump across these reappearing and disappearing platforms, get to the top. There'll be some buzzsaws. We're almost done here. Just time your running speed through them really carefully. And then it's also buzzsaws on the bottom. We're already almost done here. Just watch out for the spike balls right here. Go down. You don't want to go up because up is a dead end if you're going the way I'm going. And then take out the caterpillars, spin into them if you want to. There'll be some spike balls right here. But just speed through it and then we'll be done with Act 2, which is less than 2 minutes. And with that, we will start going into Act 3, which is going to be vastly different than Act 2 and 1 because we'll actually be thrown down into the basement of Scrap Brain Zone by Dr. Robonik. Because we're going to run towards him and there's a force field away. He's like, I got you, Sonic. Oh god, he fell in the toilet of Scrap Brain Zone. And I legitimately do think this is the toilet of Scrap Brain Zone, but obviously it's probably just it's the Ruins Labyrinth zone that Scrap Brain Zone was built on top of. But I've always liked to think it's the toilet of Scrap Brain Zone. I digress. So, if you go down the pathway I'm going, if you're really quick with, getting in front of that platform and dropping to this bottom part, then you will get through Scrap Brain Zone Act 3 really quickly, and basically in less than a minute. If you're really good, you can do this in like, I would say like 45 seconds. But really, there's not a signpost for you to get points, so you can literally just go through this really quickly and not worry about points unless you want to kill the enemies here for some small minuscule points. But with that, we'll be in the final zone. There's not final zone Act 1, but the final zone is literally just a boss fight with Robonik, where he's going to try to crush you to death and electrocute you with these purple electric balls. You have no rings, and you don't want to get crushed like me right there. But something I like to do is I like to position myself between the big spaces of those plasma balls and just jump straight up and then slightly move out of the way, or you can run clear right through them underneath and then avoid them as they're going overhead. It's completely up to you. I like to try to stay in the middle if I can. That way I can have a good shot at hitting Robotnik, because this boss fight will be as long or as short as good luck allows, if you have good luck or bad luck. So it could be a while, or it could be a little bit, and maybe how much you're willing to take risks, because you have no rings. So when you get one hit by those plasma balls, you will die. You get smashed by Robotnik, you will die. So just be mindful of your platforming skills, because you can't rely on rings here to keep you alive, because smashing also will instant kill you. So just be careful, time your jumps, be very mindful, observant, and all that. And then this boss fight is actually pretty easy for our final boss fight. So boop, a few more hits and we should take out Robotnik. I think that was like maybe hit number 7, maybe 6. But like you see there, I ran clear from one end to the other, and then just spun right underneath it. And right there, same thing. And then that should be the end of it. Yes. So he's all boom boom blowing up. And then you can choose to spare Robotnik or his Eggmobile. I'm going to hit his Eggmobile because, you know what, Robotnik made my journey a living heck because I kept chasing him. But with that, we'll be treated to the ending. You'll launch the Chaos Emeralds towards in the air. First they'll spin and then they'll disappear. And then all the plants and everything will come to life. And then Sonic will be like, what was that? And jump towards the screen and say, oh yeah, that's the end of the game. Bye. But Sonic 1. Oh, Sonic 1. I love this game to death. Oh, so many good memories with this. This is actually my second favorite, sorry. It's one of my favorite Sonic games, but it's not my second favorite Sonic game, that's for sure. But as a whole, in the entire franchise anyways. And far as the Genesis era, it is my second favorite Sonic game. But it's one of those Sonic games I like to go back to and just speed run. I don't necessarily like getting the Chaos Emeralds. They don't really serve a purpose in the grand scheme of things, like in Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. And special stage in Sonic 1, while I do like them, I don't really like getting the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1, because you're always going to go into the final zone. It just changes what Sonic does when he runs after you beat Robotnik in the final zone. And then the ending when Eggman's like throwing the Chaos Emeralds and says try again and all that. But Sonic 1, I love the music to death. I love most of the tracks. Actually, I think almost all the tracks I do like. I can't think of one that's like more like meh than the others. Zone layout and all that, you know, I think the only one I really have bad things to say about, and just personal preference, is just Starlight Zone as far as music. But Starlight Zone and Scrap Brain Zone, good music, but I don't like the levels. Starlight Zone because I feel it's a very blah, and Scrap Brain Zone because it's very obstacle-y, but that's part of the course for a Sonic game for the final zone. But that's the end of our Sonic 1 Let's Play, and with that, Dr. Robotnik is mad and he's stomping the word end, and then we'll be treated to a little bit of a cutscene that's for the Sonic Origins collection where we see Sonic's next adventure. But with that, folks, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya and bye.